Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Lal, and we're going to begin with our expedited accusation calendar. This is with the State Court of Fulton County. We have a list of misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. I think, Mr. Jordan, you mean November 14th? Just responding to the chat message from Mr. Jordan. Okay.
Oh, yes, Judge. That's supposed to be November the 14th.
Okay, thank you. All right. As I was saying, this is a misdemeanor calendar in which individuals whose cases have been recently booked at the Fulton County Jail, these cases have now been formally accused by the prosecutor, who's the Solicitor General of Fulton County. This would be the defendant's first appearance before a judicial officer, during which time I will let them know of their new case number, the charges brought against them.
Judge Law, courtroom 2 is just coming on. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Is ACDC joining us as well?
I haven't seen them log on yet.
Okay. All right, folks, just 1 second. We have a courtroom with the defendants joining us. Miss Taylor, who's your client? Miss Beverly Taylor?
Good morning, Judge. Afternoon, Judge.
Afternoon.
Walker at ACDC, female defendant. She's at ACDC, so I hope they're joining soon.
Is that Paula Walker?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
And Judge, I put a message in the chat to the ASGs. So that case, we have a simple battery family violence accusation filed on it, but the charge is stalking family violence. So if they're trying to add 2 charges, I'm missing one of the accusations.
All right. Miss Mokeke or who else is our prosecutor today? Mr. Rhodes? Could you all look into that, please? Thank you. All right, courtroom 2. Do we have everyone in the courtroom this afternoon?
Hey, Judge, my coworker, he went to go grab everybody, so give us about 2 minutes.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna start with position 3, Kofi. Then we're gonna do Beverly Taylor, client next after position 3.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. And Ms. Mokeke, if we can look into the accusation, if there are any additionals or changes to Ms. Walker. Okay. All right, let's address.
But I looked into it, Judge, as it relates to the stalking charge. It was my intention to NOD that one. So I was NODing this, dismissing the stalking charge. So all we had was the terroristic threats.
All right.
I don't even have a terroristic threats charge. I have an accusation for simple battery family violence. We're talking about Paula Walker.
Not terroristic threats. It was for the family violence. It was not, terroristic threats was something that was old. So just that one. But the stalking charge you dismissed.
So the case should say simple battery family violence?
Yes.
Okay, I'll fix it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan.
Okay, now that we've cleared that up, let's go back to courtroom 2. And courtroom 2, we have Charmaine Kofi. Courtroom 2, please unmute and start your video. Oh, I think they may be letting folks in, so we'll just hold until they get everyone in there. All right, and Miss McLeod, who is your client?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Afternoon.
I have more than one client. I have Miss Walker, and I also have Miss Colbert.
All right. Are you talking about Paula Walker?
I'm sorry, I have Miss Smalls. I'm sorry, Miss Walker, I understand as private counsel.
Yeah. So who are your clients? Miss
Smalls.
Anyone else?
Yes, Your Honor. I also have Miss Colbert. Miss
Colbert, okay. Okay, positions 3 and 14.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. As soon as courtroom 2 joins us, we'll get started. Are there any other private counsel on the Zoom whom I need to address? Okay. All right, folks, we're just going to wait until courtroom 2 and/or ACDC joins us. So please hold.
All right, Joe, we ready.
All right, thank you. All right, this is going to be a general announcement for everyone in courtroom 2 or this is a state expedited accusation calendar with the State Court of Fulton County. These are a list of misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently booked and their cases have now been formally accused by the Solicitor General of Fulton County. When I call your name, I'm going to be addressing your cases on a one-on-one basis. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one would be appointed to represent you. For today, I'm going to give you the information about your case number, the charges that have been brought against you, to set a bond if one has not been previously set, as well as to address, well, that was about it. So let's begin with Mr. Shemaine Kofi. Mr. Kofi, your case number is 24CR 007-458F. You have been accused of theft by shoplifting and willful obstruction of an officer from November 1st, 2021. You've been advised of your rights and your attorney is going to be Ms. Counts. I see he has 3 cycles. Anything else?
He got 33 cycles.
33. I missed out the other 3. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, he got open felony obstruction, terrorist threats, interference with government property, trespass, criminal damage to property, on probation, simple assault, trespass, damage, on probation for simple assault, disorderly conduct, on another probation for obstruction, disorderly conduct.
That's good. Thank you. Ms. McCakey, what is the recommendation from the state?
Yes, Your Honor. The recommendation for the state is going to be $1,000 surety on the theft by shoplifting, a $1,500 surety on the willful obstruction, stay away from the incident location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. This incident occurred at the BP gas station located at 464 Windsor Street, Southwest Atlanta. The defendant is accused of taking chips and eating them without paying for them, and then proceeding to pull merchandise from the shelves. Officers asked for his name and he refused to provide it and then proceeded to curse at the officers. When he was placed in the vehicle, he kicked the patrol door while inside and also spit inside of the vehicle multiple times. He appeared to be intoxicated at the time of the incident. Given the defendant's history, there is a concern that he will reoffend. He does have an open case, and there is a concern that he is a danger to the community given his arrests and convictions for violent offenses.
All right. And Ms. Counts?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Judge.
Yeah.
My client is 47 years old. He does have a good address here in Atlanta. He is not currently employed as he's on disability. He's informed me that he does have a bullet in his back He presently has a broken foot, and he does suffer from PTSD and is on medication. He is on disability, and so that is why he's not currently employed. He's born and raised here in the state of Georgia, so he does have significant ties. Due to the fact that these are nonviolent offenses, I would ask for your consideration of a signature bond.
All right.
Nothing further.
Bond is set at 500 on each count. The total bond is $1,000 surety. To stay away from the BP at 464 Windsor Street in Atlanta, Georgia. No illegal drugs, alcohol, and firearms. Thank you. Next
Thank
court is November 14th.
Yeah, gone. Thank you, Your Honor. All right.
Do we have Ms. Walker next, Deputy?
We do, she comes.
All right. This is Paula Walker, case number 24 CR 0074666E. Ms. Walker, you were originally charged with stalking, family violence, and simple battery, family violence. The prosecutor has dismissed stalking charge. So the one count against you is for simple battery, family violence from June 7th, 2024. Please remember you have the right to remain silent as advised, and your attorney is Ms. Beverly Taylor. Do you see Ms. Taylor on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I
Third,
see
ar-
7 cycles.
third arrest, 2023 injury. Judge,
Sorry. I'm reading the wrong column. Sorry about that. Third arrest. Yes, sir.
I was making sure your glasses is on. 2023 injury to real property. 2023 terrorist threats dismissed.
Okay. And Mr. Rhodes, what's the recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. As it relates to this particular case, the recommendation is for a $3,000 good bond, Your Honor. This involved, forgive me, Judge, this involved incident where officers had to be dispatched to 3264 Benjamin E. Mays Drive regarding a dispute between Ms. Walker and her husband, Mr. Keenan Walker, that's spelled Kenon. They are going through a divorce. She is said to have knocked his Ring camera to the ground and punched him in the chest with a closed fist. There was a previous terroristic threats, but that terroristic threats was dismissed by the DA's office. That previous terroristic threats did have a stay away. However, since it was dismissed, there's no basis for an act stalking in this case. So I did NOD the stalking in this particular charge. So based on the fact that 2 of the 3 previous arrests involved the same victim, that is the basis of me asking for a $3,000 good bond. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
And we have to stay away from 3264 Benjamin E. Mays Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, and have no further contact with Keenan Walker.
All right. And Ms. Taylor?
Judge, on behalf of Ms. Walker, and certainly this is not the place to deny these spurious allegations, but we do. Judge, she is 30 years old, a lifetime resident of Atlanta. She does have family members on the platform for her. She doesn't have any problem, Judge, staying away and not having any contact with her husband, soon to be ex-husband, hopefully. And Judge, the $3,000 bond is not like it's so high. We would ask for a $300 cash option to be able to be paid to the jail. And again, we're not opposed to the stay away conditions, Judge.
All right. Are there children involved?
Judge, they have one child who is currently in the custody of Mrs. Walker.
All right.
There's a 5-year-old daughter, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
The son.
Son.
Well,
Yeah.
one child at least. Okay.
Yes.
On the simple battery family violence, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services level 2.
Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Walker is required to report to pretrial twice a month. She is to have no contact with Kenon, Kenon Walker, with the exception of having to be with him in court for to engage with him either strictly through her attorney. she's to comply with any parenting plan that is issued by the divorce case. And I'm going to let the judge decide whether it should be supervised visitation or whether it should be third-party transfer of the child in question. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and firearms. If she owns any firearms, they have to be surrendered to the authorities for destruction. She has to stay away from 3284 Benjamin E. Mays Drive in Southwest Atlanta. Mrs. Walker, this is tantamount or almost the same as a civil protective order that would be issued by Superior Court. And as your attorney will advise you, if you violate this bond order, it could mean a revocation of your bond and you remain in jail with no bond. If Mr. Walker decides to get a protective order through Superior Court and you violate that protective order, you could be charged with a felony aggravated stalking, which means you'll be in jail for up to 3 months with no bond. So I highly recommend you listen to your attorney and conduct yourself accordingly if you want to see this divorce through in an amicable way where you get to preserve your rights.
Judge, again, child is currently with her in her custody. I don't believe that she's had any contact with Mr. Walker for some time right now. Basically, you know, like I said, the child is
I like to alert Mrs. Walker to these possibilities because if she wants to maintain custody of a child, you know, please don't risk it anymore.
Right. And Judge, on the reported, and I certainly understand the court's conditions on the reported to pretrial twice a month. Judge, she does work out of towns on occasion, so that might be a little cumbersome. Can we maybe make it reporting once a month?
I'm going to make it twice a month, and then if there is compliance for the first 4 months, then we will amend it to once a month.
All right, thank you, Judge.
All right.
That's
Okay.
all.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Taylor. And Ms. Walker, please maintain a current address so you can come back to court to address this particular case in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
All right, next case in position 2. Alex.
Tamisha Adams is accused of battery, disorderly conduct, and theft by taking from November 1st, 2024, case number 24CR7457F. Ms. Adams, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Counts. 5 cycles, Mr. Howard?
Correct.
Okay.
2020 simple battery robbery dismissed. 2015 battery DV ag assault. Terroristic threats. That was dead docket.
Ms. Mulcahy?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred at the Family Dollar located at 565 Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard, Southwest. One of the victims in this case is Patience Lewis Allen, who is an employee at the Family Dollar. The defendant, whose store owners suspected of shoplifting earlier in the day, returned to the incident location to retrieve her bag. Customers of the store are asked to leave their bags at the front of the store to deter shoplifting. The defendant became irate while asking about the bag, and she jumped on the counter and began threatening Miss Allen. Miss Allen then grabbed a broom to defend herself when the defendant jumped over the counter and attacked her. A second employee by the name of Miss Haith came out and pepper sprayed the defendant. The victim, Miss Allen, sustained bruises and abrasions as a result of the attack. The incident was caught on video. During a search of the defendant, officers did find a driver's license and credit and debit cards belonging to a Zeddy Austin. Miss Austin was the victim of a snatch theft that had occurred earlier. The state's recommendation is going to be based on the defendant's history, which shows that she does have a propensity for violence and theft when coupled with the facts in this case. There is a concern that she will be a danger to the community as a whole. The recommendation for the battery is a $1,000 surety bond. The recommendation for the theft by taking is a $1,000 surety bond. The recommendation for the disorderly is a $500 surety bond. So that is a total $2,500 surety bond that we are requesting. No further contact with Patience Lewis Allen, Brene Haith, and Zeddy Austin. stay away from that incident location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. I would ask the court to sound for Ms. Allen and Ms. Austin, who were the victims in this case.
All right. Ms. Allen and Ms. Austin, if you are present, you can unmute and start your video. All right, Ms. Counts, any particular takes on this?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Miss Adams, is 32 years old. She does have a good address here in Atlanta. She's not currently employed, but has informed me of some mental health diagnoses that she has. She specifically takes a shot of Invegra every 28 days. So I don't believe that she would be a good candidate to remain in custody due to the need for this medication. She's born and raised in Georgia, so she does have significant ties to the state. I would ask for your consideration of a signature bond or a lower bond as possible.
And
Thank you.
How does she travel?
How does she travel?
Yeah, I mean, is she able to report to pretrial?
Yeah, she's able to report pretrial. She has a address in off of MLK Drive in Atlanta, so she's able to do that.
Okay. On the battery charge is going to be 2,500. On the disorderly conduct is 1,000, and the theft by taking is 1,000. The total bond is 4,500. It's a signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. She can sign up for a bond, but she has to report to pretrial twice a month. She's to stay. I'm going to revoke it. I'm going to revoke it. No, I'm not interested in that kind of attitude. No, no.
I was happy about
No,
it.
go sit back. I'm not interested in that kind of attitude. Go sit down.
I'm so sorry.
Go sit down.
I didn't have no attitude.
Go sit down.
All right, next case, Judge, it's gonna be position 4, Colbert.
We coming back to her? Oh, that's a good bond.
I don't know yet. I'll have to think about
Oh.
it. Kenesha Colbert, accused of simple battery family violence in case number 24CR 0074598. Ms. Colbert is accused of simple battery family violence from October 14th of this year. And Ms. Colbert, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. Do you see Ms. McLeod on the screen? Yeah, okay, good. I see 3 cycles, Mr. Howard.
2014 criminal damage to property, 2nd degree out of Clayton County. First offender. 2013 trespass, ag assault. I think you got PTI for that.
All right. And Ms. McCakey?
Yes, Your Honor. The victim in this case is Jasmine Billings, who is the defendant's sister. The incident location is 50 Mount Zion Road in Atlanta. The defendant is accused of physically picking up her sister and then proceeding to throw her on the ground outside of the apartment and then locking her out. The victim told officers that she had recently had surgery on her foot, and her and the defendant were arguing because the defendant wanted her out of the apartment. The parties had been living together since June of 2024. The victim complained of stomach pain, but the documents do not note that she had any visible injuries. There is also ring camera footage of the defendant putting the victim's items outside, and officers did note those items outside when they arrived at the location. The state's recommendation is a signature bond through pretrial services. No further contact with the victim at this time. I will defer to the court regarding a stay away. I'm not sure who owns the apartment, who moved in with whom. So I will defer to the court regarding that. I'm sure Ms. McLeod has more information regarding their living arrangements. That the defendant take anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Ms. McLeod. I'm just wondering whether Jasmine Billings is on Zoom. Don't see her. Okay, please proceed.
Your Honor, we are okay with the recommendations for bond as the state has recommended. We're fine with that. This is my client's home. She allowed her sister to move in because her sister didn't have anywhere to go. But my understanding is that her sister actually moved from that location the same day this incident, this disagreement between them occurred. My client does live at this address with her 2 minor children.
Okay.
And there's no need for anybody to move because apparently her sister has already left.
All right. The bond is going to be set at $1,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services level 1. No further contact with Jasmine Billings. Jasmine is spelled Jazsmine, Billings, common spelling. And she may return to the apartment at 50 Mount Zion Road in Atlanta. The first visit has to be with a police officer to verify, but the officer will verify that Miss Billings no longer occupies the premises. And if it's verified, then she may return to those premises. Otherwise, she would need to stay away and update the court with a new address within 30 days. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. And she'll need to complete one anger awareness program with pretrial. Next court date will be set to whichever address turns out to be her current one. Anything else, Ms. McLeod?
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, next case, Judge 13 Smalls.
Okay. Ms. Tiana Smalls is accused of battery from September 10th, 2024, case number 24CR007454J. Ms. Smalls, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. And I understand she's
Yes,
got 2 cycles with a prior dismissal. Mr. Howard, would that be
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rhodes, so what's your recommendation on Ms. Smalls?
Yes, Your Honor, the state is recommending a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services level 1. No further contact with Janiyah O'Neal, and that's spelled Jania, Your Honor. And stay away from 180 Jackson Street, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia. The unit in particular is number 3604 because I do believe that they all live at 180 Jackson Street. So unit number 36. Yes, and that's all I got. Judge and Ms. McLeod.
Ms. McLeod, any objection to the stay away?
No, Your Honor, but my client lives in the same apartment complex. She can stay away from that unit. That's fine.
Well, as
They
long
don't live together, never have.
Okay, and she lives in a different unit. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes, Your Honor, they all live at the same complex, but in separate units. And I also want to point out that this allegedly happened sometime in September, and my client has had no interaction with the alleged victim since then.
Unfortunately, a warrant was issued, so that's the unfortunate thing. I see that Miss Smalls has a 42. Is that 4217? Is that a correct unit number for Miss Jackson, for Miss Smalls?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe so.
Is that
Yes.
your unit number, Miss Smalls?
Yes.
All right. On the battery charge, is going to be a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial services level 1. Ms. Smalls, you can sign up for your bond today, but you need to report to pretrial once a month. Even though this happened a couple of months ago, this is still an active criminal case against you, so you'll be required to comply with the conditions of your bond. The first condition is no contact with Janiyah O'Neal, and you're to stay away from Unit 36 at 180 Jackson Street. You can continue to stay in your apartment, but from this point onwards, you must conduct yourself accordingly. If you happen to see Miss Janiyah O'Neal in the apartment complex, you have to turn around and either go back into your apartment or go outside. You cannot be within 50 yards of where Miss O'Neal is if she is out in public. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're the one charged with a criminal offense, so you are required to stay away from her. She has no such obligation. Do we understand each other? All right. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Oh, I've got a different number, 3604, Mr. Rhodes?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's the
Is that her current address? Or
that is the business address. You said 36, it's 3604.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yes, you need to stay away from unit 3604. Okay. All right. And
Judge,
we will.
I'm sorry to interject.
Yeah.
But she is the alleged victim on position 15.
Okay, so this is across.
No, so it's her case involving that victim is a different client of mine, but it's still a conflict since we're going to be representing her as well. So I was just trying to interject if we could call up Mr. Torian also. I know there might be, you have to make an order as far as contact in his case. I just was asking that she not be excused if you would like to ask her questions when we get to position 15.
So Tiana Smalls is the alleged victim in position 15 involving Jaquan Torian. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. And your office represents Tiana Smalls.
No. So since
Well, yes, you do.
she has an open case, I am representing Mr. Torian, and I conflicted out of Ms. Small's case since she's the alleged victim in his case.
Are you with the public defender's office?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so I don't think you can represent Mr. Jaquan Torian.
I don't represent Miss Small, so I conflicted out of Miss Small's case.
I'm sorry. I thought it was Miss Counts who is the PD. I apologize. Let me get my head straight. Okay. All right. So Miss McLeod, would you be able to represent?
No, I don't need a conflict. So she already represents Miss Small, so I requested a conflict because she's the victim in Mr. Torian's case.
All right. So Miss McLeod represents Tiana Smalls. And I understand, Ms. McLeod. I'm so sorry. I got a little confused because I kept thinking, why are we talking about this? I understand now. Ms. Wills, you represent Torian, and Ms. McLeod represents Smalls, and yes, Ms. McLeod.
Yes, I represent Miss Smalls.
Yes, I was just asking that she not be excused because it's a battery case involving Miss Smalls, where she's the alleged victim in Mr. Torian's case. And I'm not sure, since you have to make a ruling as far as contact, I just didn't want her to be excused before his case was heard.
Does Torian live at the 180 Jackson Street too?
Yes, they live together.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
But I was only going to ask for no further violent contact.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Sorry for the confusion.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Okay.
We can call.
Let me just get back to Miss Smalls now that I've got some contacts, and let me just get back to Miss Smalls. Okay, hang on. Miss McLeod, did we get a full understanding of Miss Tiana Smalls' case and what she's required to do?
Yes, Your Honor, we did. She's to stay 50 yards away from the alleged victim and to have no further contact with her.
Correct. And she can stay right now at the 180 Jackson Street at apartment 42, whatever that was.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand what I just said to you? Do we have the video off?
Phone seem to be off.
Courtroom 2, do you have audio?
We do.
Okay. Did you understand me, Ms. Moss?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So stay away from Janai O'Neill and you'll be okay. Report to pretrial once a month and don't get arrested again. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Deputy, she needs to be seated very far away from Jaquan Torian if he's in the courtroom.
All right, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right.
I'm on do position 15 next.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, this way.
I kept reading that and wondering where have I heard the name Smalls when I was reading Torian. Okay. Jaquan Torian is case 24 CR 007456C. Mr. Torian's case is from June 21st, 2024, and he is charged with battery family violence with respect to Miss Tiana Smalls. Mr. Torian, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Callie Wills. Do you see her on the screen? All right.
It's Kaylee, Your Honor.
Kaylee, so, pardon me. This is also his second arrest.
Correct.
2021
suspended license.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rhodes, do you have a recommendation for Mr. Torian? Where would you like him to stay?
Yes, Your Honor. as it relates to Mr. Torian, we're just asking for a $3,000 signature bond, pretrial service level 1, and just to have no further violent contact with Tiana Smalls. It is fine. This is something that stemmed back from June of 2024. Since that time, they've had no problems, and so therefore, we're not asking for a straight stay away. That they just don't be violent with one another. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any objection, Ms. Wills?
No, none at all.
This is going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, which means, Mr. Torian, you will report to pretrial once a month. Since you and Ms. Smalls, since I'm allowing no further violent contact between the two of you, you both report to pretrial at the same time if it works with your schedule. Both of you are not allowed to drink any alcohol, no illegal drugs, and not own or possess any firearms or weapons. Your next court date will be set to your current address, and you will also be required to complete a one-day anger awareness program with pretrial. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. All right, we're going to add on in position 1.
Okay. Jared Watkins is an additional to our calendar today. His case number is 24CR 74698, accused of battery, family violence from February 18, 2024. Watkins, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wills. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
2023 FTA, 2019 trespass conviction, 2019 marijuana conviction, 2015 simple battery, cruelty to children, PTI.
Thank you. Mr. Rhodes, what's the recommendation for Mr. Watkins?
Yes, Your Honor. As it relates to Mr. Watkins, the state is asking for a. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Can I have that case number again?
Sure. 24CR 007 469A. This was the add-on for our calendar today.
Yes. One moment, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, as it relates to Mr. Watkins, the state is asking for a $3,000 good bond in this particular case. Is this Jared Watkins?
This is Jared Watkins with 7 cycles. This is an incident from February 18th. This was the one, was it?
Yes.
Something to do with a
Trash building
or something like that.
Gotcha. It's Zayada Leslie. So what we were asking for was a $3,000 good bond, Your Honor. No further contact with Miss Zayada Leslie. I believe Miss Leslie may be on if Your Honor would like to sound for her, and to stay away from Zayada is spelled Ziyada Leslie, and to stay away from 507 Bishop Street, apartment 2510 in Atlanta, Georgia. And again, Miss Leslie is on.
Okay. So do you recollect this case, Mr. Rhodes? It's something to do with the trash and then kicking in the door, something to that effect?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Miss, look, I have to read all 15 cases. I can try to remember the key points. All right, Miss Leslie? All right, could you please unmute? Okay.
Yes.
All right, remove your hat. You're in a courtroom. And do you want to add anything to this case?
I just want to say that
Raise your right hand.
yes. My bad. I just want to say.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right. This is family violence. It appears that y'all used to live together. Do y'all still live together?
No.
Okay. What would you like to tell me?
Well, I'm not afraid of him or anything. You used to work together, but I no longer work at that job. So I don't feel like he's a threat to me at all.
Because he doesn't work with you, and because he doesn't live with you?
Yeah, even when we had to work together, our job scheduled us together. He didn't try to hurt me or anything. So,
Okay. Understood. Miss Wills?
Thank you, Judge. My client is 28 years old. He does not reside at the incident location. He is a native of Georgia. He is currently employed and has two jobs. One is at Taringa City. He's been working there for 3 months. And he also works at Escobar Bar or a restaurant for the past 3 years. He has a high school diploma. He does deny the allegations. And I would ask that the court grant the request that they be allowed to contact. This incident did happen back in February. There's been no other incidents. And also they're not working together. They don't live together. And so I don't think there should be an issue as far as them having communication and contact. And I would request a signature bond in this case.
He's got a 2023 FTA, so he's unfortunately disqualified from the signature bond. The bond is going to be $1,000. It's going to be a surety bond. Next court date is going to be November 14th. No further violent contact with the victim. And if he's not living there anymore, then he's going to stay away from that apartment complex. No illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next case is position 6, Johnson.
Mr. Lord Dontrell Johnson, case number is 24CR007462J. Mr. Johnson is accused of theft by receiving stolen property from December 12th of 2022. I see he's got 3 cycles. Would that be correct, Mr. Howard?
That's what I have. 2022 stolen goods, obtained money by false pretense. That was dismissed. 2013 possession of marijuana, first offender. Jail is recommended.
Miss Mokeke?
Yes, Your Honor. The victim in this case is Zakaria Russell. The defendant is accused of receiving clothing, shoes, games, and various other items belonging to the victim. The defendant then made an account on a website called OfferUp, where he attempted to resell the items. The victim's apartment had been broken into the day before. The state's recommendation is a signature bond, that he have no further contact with Zakaria Russell, that he stay away from 1991 Delow Drive, Southwest Atlanta, which is the location of the victim's apartment. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. I would ask the court to sound for Zakaria Russell.
Ms. Russell, if you're on Zoom, please unmute. I have an iPhone, but I don't know who that person is. All right. Ms. Counts, any objection?
No objection to a signature bond, Your Honor.
Okay. $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. Stay away from Zakaria Russell and stay away from 1991 Delow Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Johnson, you will have to report to pretrial once a month. And if you get arrested again, or if you violate the conditions, you will be brought back to jail and your bond will be revoked. Thank you.
I'm good. Yeah, I've seen the boot jail. All right, next up, Judge, gonna be position 8. Number 8.
All right. This is Saeed Nabi, accused of evidence of winnings violation, 24 CR 7463B, allegedly from November 1st, 2024. Mr. Nabi, you've been advised of your rights and your attorney will be Ms. Counts. Mr. Saeed Nabi, I don't mean to be rude, but do you speak and understand English?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mokeke, this is his first arrest. Any objection to a signature bond through the jail?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Nabi, your bond is going to be $1,000. It's going to be a signature bond through the jail. You do not have to pay for the bond, but please understand that this is an active criminal case against you. If you decide to hire your own attorney, please make sure that you report to court when summoned. Your next court date will be sent to your address. Thank you.
Are you still in the back row? Our next case is gonna be, position 9, Neat Smith.
What was that? Danny Lee Nesmith?
Yeah, Neat Smith, yes.
Okay. Mr. Danny Nesmith is case 24 CR 7465Y. He's accused of theft by shoplifting, giving false information to an officer, and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer from October 31st, 2024. Mr. Nesmith, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Ms. Counts. I see he's got 36 cycles. Any open cases with state court?
6 shoplifting convictions. 3 from 2017, 1 from 18, 2 from 19.
And that's good. Thank you. Ms. Mulcahy?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred at the Walmart located at 844 Cleveland Avenue, Southwest and East Point. The defendant is accused of stealing food items from the location. The defendant then proceeded to run out of the store when he was approached by officers, and once detained, he gave officers the incorrect name of Corey Bell. Given the defendant's history, there is a concern that he will reoffend. He has those shoplifting convictions as well as several theft by shoplifting arrests. It also looks like he has an FTA from this year, so there is a concern he could be a flight risk or just not show up for court. The recommendation for the theft by shoplifting is a $1,000 surety for the willful obstruction, also a $1,000 surety, a $500 surety on the giving false information. Stay away from all Walmart locations. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Ms. Counts?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 50 years old. He does have a good address in Atlanta. He does work at a temp service. He's been working there for the last 5 to 6 months. He would qualify for the services of our office after today. I would ask for your consideration. I understand if he had an FTA that he would be disqualified from a signature bond, but I would ask for as low of a bond as possible for him.
All right. On the theft by shoplifting, it's going to be 500. The giving false information is 500, and the willful obstruction is 1,000. His total bond is a $2,000 surety bond. To stay away from the incident location as well as all Walmart stores that are known in existence. His next court date is going to be November 14th. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You did. All right, we're going to position 1. Adams. Come on, Steven. Steven, yep.
Mr. Jordan, have you been able to identify who is that iPhone person? Otherwise, we can put them in the waiting room.
Not yet.
All right, see if they'll respond to your chat. Otherwise, we'll have to put them in the waiting room. Stephen Ray Adams is accused of criminal trespass, loitering and prowling, and theft by taking on October 31st, 2024, in case number 24 CR 0074558. Mr. Adams, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Counts. 15 cycles, Mr. Adams?
Correct. On probation. Possession of a Schedule 1 out of Cherokee County. 2018, 2017 probation. 2012 burglary, theft by taking conviction. 2010 FTA. I think he's homeless, according to the booking sheet.
Ms. Mulcahy?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred at a Georgia Power property. It's located at 315 Maple Street Northwest in Atlanta. The defendant is accused of entering that property and stealing 2 bundles of copper, taking them to the fence, and then proceeding to pass them under the fence to an unknown man on a bike who was on the outside of the fence. Their property does have a clear no trespassing sign. Officers did find the defendant laying on rocks inside of the fence. The defendant told officers that he had fallen when he was trying to climb over the fence to leave. The theft was caught on video. The defendant is a multi-state offender. He does have 3 arrest cycles also out of Florida. Given his criminal history, there is a concern that he will reoffend. He also, of course, has some FTAs on his record as well as felony convictions. The state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 on the theft by taking, $500 on the loiter prowl, $500 on the criminal trespass. Stay away from that incident location. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
All right. Ms. Counts?
Yes, thank you, Judge. My client is 59 years old. He is homeless. He's been homeless for the last 6 months. He has an interview, however, for a job coming up. Um, he has significant ties to the state. He has been here since 2001. I understand he has FTAs, but I would ask for your consideration of a signature bond. If not a signature bond, a lower bond is possible.
Right. I think the bond recommended by the state is reasonable, and that's going to be a total of a $2,000 surety bond, 500 on count one, 500 on count two, and $1,000 on theft by taking, to stay 500 yards away from the Georgia power plant at 315 Maple Street in Atlanta, Georgia. No illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons. Next court date is going to be November 14.
There you go. Haven't seen no back row. Position 12, Sawyer.
Just as Joseph Sawyer, accused of battery family violence from September 5th of this year, accusation 24 CR 7453D. Mr. Sawyer, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wills. There are 5 cycles according to Mr. Howard's notes. Is that correct, sir?
Correct. 2019 DUI, 2013 theft by receiving,
Mr. Houston.
2013 carrying weapon without a valid license.
Mr. Broads?
Yes, Your Honor. As it relates to this particular case, Your Honor, it seems that on September 5th, officers were dispatched to 1787 Dotson Drive in Southwest Atlanta, where Miss Sabrina, and forgive me, I'm going to try to pronounce Hermenegildo, and that's spelled Hermenegildo, explained that Joseph Sawyer did intentionally grab her by her hair and slammed her into the wall. He also placed her in a headlock and started choking her, causing her difficulty breathing and with blurry vision. She was slammed to the floor and he put his foot on her chest. Officers said that when they arrived to the scene, they did in fact observe bruises about the person of Miss Hermenegildo. The accused, Mr. Sawyer, and the victim, they lived together at the 1787 Dotson Drive address in Southwest Atlanta. Based on the nature of the charges, severity, and description of the charges, we are asking for a good bond in the amount of $3,000, Your Honor. And then he has no further contact with Miss Sabrina Hermenegildo, and to stay away from 1787 Dotson Drive Southwest in Atlanta, Georgia. And I would ask that we sound for the victim in this case.
You do it.
Okay.
Miss Sabrina, if you are on Zoom, please unmute and start your video. Miss Sabrina, last name begins with an H. All right. Miss Wills?
Thank you, Judge. My client is 31 years old. He does have an alternate residence and does not intend to return back there. He states that he was actually attacked by the alleged victim, Miss Sabrina. They were living together with her mother at the time in her mother's home. Any marks or bruises, it was out of self-defense, but he does not desire any further contact with her at this time. I would request a signature bond in light of especially that this happened back in September. There's been no other offenses or incidents. He would just like the opportunity to pick up his clothing and items that he has at the property with the police escort. But I think a signature bond would be appropriate in this case.
Bond is set at $5,000. This is going to be a signature bond through pretrial services level 3. He will report to pretrial once a week, not once a month, once a week. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no firearms. He is to stay away from 1787 Dotson Drive, Southwest Atlanta, the home of Miss Sabrina and her family. I'm going to allow him a one-time visit with a police officer. That visit cannot exceed 30 minutes. It's only for half an hour for him to get his stuff. Otherwise, he doesn't need to go back. While he is out reporting on pretrial, he will enroll in a domestic violence intervention program within 30 days of being released. Mr. Sawyer, this is a 26-week program. You would need to make sure you're enrolled in the program within 30 days, show proof of enrollment and attendance, and you have to present the certificate to your pretrial officer by the end of the 26 weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
No contact with Miss Sabrina with the last name beginning with H, as well as her family members, including her mother, if she lives with a mother, and any child or children that she has. Does he share any children with her?
No, but that was my girlfriend. The Laura is my girlfriend. The mother.
The child yours?
The mother is my girlfriend.
The mother is your girlfriend? All right, so you cannot return to that location. If the mother wants to see you, she can come meet you, but you are not to have any contact with, well, actually, according to this warrant, the caller, I arrived on scene and met with Sabrina and her mother, Lara Aranda. I see. Okay. Yeah. So no contact with Sabrina and do not return to that 1787 Dotson Drive. If the girlfriend wants to invite you, you have to say no because you have to stay away from Sabrina and that location. And Miss Wills, I'm canceling that one-time visit. He's not allowed back at that property to retrieve his belongings. If he wants his belongings, Miss Lara Aranda can bring them to him.
I have 2 cars. One of my cars is still there, and my other car needs to transfer.
Lara Aranda can drive them to you.
Okay, thank you.
You cannot return to that property.
Okay.
You
How
do
do I?
not return to the property. You do not have any contact with Miss Sabrina. And if you are seen anywhere there, all they have to do is call the cops. You'll be back in jail. And if you want to be released, make sure you bring $5,000 with you.
Sure.
If you violate these conditions, that's a sticker price of $5,000. So you keep that in mind. Thank you.
Your Honor, is there a reason why he can't go there with law enforcement?
Because apparently Lara Aranda invited him over to spend the night at the property where the alleged victim lives. So apparently these two still have a congenial relationship, so much so that Miss Aranda can bring the items to him. He doesn't need to be back at the property.
Understood. Understood. Thank you.
All right. I thought they were both complaining that he was back, but no, it was just the victim. Okay. All right. Next case, please.
Position 14.
This is Fabian Talpin, accused of simple battery family violence from October 31st, 2024. His case number is 24CR7460G. Mr. Talpin, you've been advised of your rights and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wills, and this is his first arrest. Any recommendation, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes, Your Honor, just a $3,000 signature bond through the jail and no further violent contact with Tyra Crosby.
Tyra Crosby?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is Ms. Crosby on Zoom? No, she's not. Mr. Talpin, I'm going to accept the state's recommendation and it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. Please understand that you are to have no more physical or verbal altercations with Ms. Crosby. If there are any future altercations and the police get involved, this $3,000 signature bond will change to a cash bond or a surety bond. Understood? All right. And we will see you in court at your next court date when we'll send you notice to your current address. If you change your address, let us know in writing. Let the clerk's office know. Understood?
Yeah.
All right. See you then.
Thank you, Judge.
Position 17.
This is State versus Samuel White, accused of simple battery family violence from October 31st of this year. Mr. White, your case number is 24CR7468C. Mr. White has 17 arrest cycles. Anything to add, Mr. Howard?
He's on probation for simple battery out of state court as of August. 23CR004312C. 2019 FTA. 2013 FTA probation.
Thank you. Mr. Rhodes?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation in this particular case is the $3,000 signature bond through pretrial service, level 2 supervision no further violent contact with Ms. Christy Brooks, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and that we ask that the court have him attend 2 AA meetings a month. And I do believe that Ms. Christy Brooks is on.
He just took a plea. Didn't he? Am I wrong? He just took a plea on August 26, 2024 to simple battery. No low plea.
Yes.
Why am I giving him a signature bond? That's, I mean, I think it's a full request. I mean, he just took a plea and then got arrested again, literally less than 2 months later.
Your Honor, I mean, I had the opportunity to speak with the alleged victim in this case. She does not want to proceed with these charges. I don't think that there's any harm or risk with them having contact as long as it's non-violent.
And I think the simple battery was I know it was a different victim. I believe I looked at it. It was in fact it was a male victim in that simple battery, Your Honor. I do understand the court's concern, though, that he was just before the tribunal very recently.
All right. Let me see this. 17 cycles. He's got an FTA from 2019. Let me see, when was that? This was, what date was that? Was it within 5 years? That's the other issue.
Hold on. I'm not sure the date. Let me see. Is this Sam White? It was December 4th, 2019, Fulton County. It was an FTA for suspended license and simple battery DB. The simple battery DB was a 2012 case.
Okay. Mr. White, this is just under 5 years, and the law has changed that if you have a failure to appear within the last 5 years, you don't qualify for a signature bond. And then on top of everything else, you just took a plea. No, I'm not listening to excuses. You just took a plea in August of this year, and then 2 months later, you get arrested for a simple battery, but this time family violence. Now, the environment has changed that signature bonds are no longer going to be given out like candy. All right? They are not going to be given out like candy. And if you haven't learned your lesson from August, I don't know what it's going to take. But since the state is recommending it, I'm going to go with the state's recommendation. It's going to be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services, level 3. You report to pretrial once a week. And then within 30 days, on top of whatever you're doing for probation, you are going to enroll in a domestic violence intervention program. This is a 26-week program that you would need to attend each and every class. This is not a probation condition. This is not a condition that will get your case dismissed. I'm requiring it as a condition of bond. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You are to have no further violent contact with Christy Brooks. And do y'all live together?
Yes, we was.
Was? That's past tense. So you don't live together anymore.
I have no contact with her, so I'm
Okay, then let's make it a little easier. No contact with Christy Brooks and stay away from wherever she lives and works and happens to be. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
You have to show proof that you have enrolled and attending the domestic violence intervention program, and that you do not consume any alcohol and do not consume any illegal drugs, and you're not allowed to own any firearms. You may be subject to random screens by pretrial. If you get arrested again, if you violate the conditions of your bond, if you fail a screen, then guess what? It's going to be a $5,000 cash bond or surety bond the next time.
I understand.
And Miss Christy Brooks is on, Your Honor.
She is? Oh, with a K. All right. Christy Brooks. You want to say something? I mean, this is the time to chime in.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you like to
Oh,
say?
I'm not afraid of him. I'm not, that was just like the first time, but we do have a son together.
But you don't live together.
No,
And
he spends the night and that's it, and goes to work from here sometimes.
so now he's not allowed to have any contact with you, and he needs to stay away from where you are at. And if he violates that condition, he's back in jail. So you decide whether you want him in jail or out of jail. Okay?
Okay,
And with regards to the child, he's going to file a legitimation action, and he's going to get a superior court order to establish a parenting plan so that y'all have a court order of when he can visit the child, when the child can spend time with him.
okay,
And also, you can also make sure that the court order states how much child support he has to pay you.
okay.
All right. Thank you.
This
Thank
per
you.
judge.
Yes, sir. Per judge. Well, can it be per Mr. Rhodes? He was the one who recommended it.
Whatever you suggest.
Okay, it won't, unfortunately. Okay, next case, Deputy. I have Alan Mesa, or
Can we do position 5?
sure. Oh, Miss Chansey, do we have a Spanish interpreter case?
Yes.
But nobody has indicated. So, defense counsel,
I have two clients, Your Honor, that need Spanish interpretation.
do you need to speak with them?
I've already spoken to them, had an interpreter do the interview with me.
Okay, so Luis Herrera Flores is a Ms. Chansey, do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you translate will be true and accurate without any changes or embellishments?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Thank you. Mr. Luis Herrera Flores is accused of battery, family violence from October 30th, 2024.
El señor Luis Herrera Flores tiene un cargo por golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar, desde el día 30 de octubre del 2024.
His case number is 24CR 7461Y.
Su número de caso es 24CR 007451Y.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you.
Usted tiene el derecho a guardar silencio. Todo lo que diga en un tribunal público, sus declaraciones pueden y serán usadas en su contra.
You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you.
Usted tiene el derecho a ser representado por un abogado. Si no puede pagar por uno, se le asignará uno para que lo represente.
Mr. Herrera Flores says this is his first arrest. Ms. Mulcahy, what's the recommendation?
Este es supuestamente el primer arresto del señor Herrera Fernández. Señora Mulcahy, ¿cuál es la recomendación de sentencia?
Your Honor, the state's recommendation is a signature bond through pretrial services, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the victim's residence. The victim in this case is Kathy Martinez. The warrant says the incident location is 3370 St. John Drive, East Point. I'm not sure.
Please pause. I'm so sorry.
One moment, please. That's okay. Su señoría, la fiscalía recomienda una fianza bajo firma, perdón, a través de los servicios previos al juicio. No tener más contacto con la víctima, mantenerse distanciado de la residencia de la víctima. La víctima en este caso es Kathy Martínez. Y la orden de arresto dice que el incidente ocurrió en el 33770 St. John's Drive en East Point.
I'm not sure if that is the party's current residence where they live together.
No sé, no estoy segura de que esa sea la residencia actual en donde viven ellos juntos.
That's not his address.
Okay. Officers arrived at the location and met with Coy Cooper, who stated that he witnessed the victim yelling for help and observed.
Los oficiales llegaron al lugar y se encontraron con el señor Cooper, que declaró que había visto a la víctima gritar pidiendo ayuda, y también observó.
Yes, he did witness the defendant chasing the victim around the vehicle. The victim stated the defendant had bitten her.
También atestiguó ver al acusado corriendo detrás de la víctima alrededor del vehículo. La víctima dijo que el acusado la había mordido.
The defendant admitted to officers that he was jealous because the victim was texting another man.
Y el acusado admitió a los oficiales que él estaba celoso porque la víctima estaba mandando mensajes escritos a otro hombre por teléfono.
Since we don't have the victim's address, we would just ask that the defendant stay away from the victim's residence at this time.
Dado a que no tenemos la dirección de la víctima, pedimos que el acusado se mantenga distanciado de la residencia de la víctima en este momento.
If the court is inclined to allow contact, we would ask for the defendant to do an FVIP. Our office has not spoken with the victim.
Si su señoría está inclinado a permitir el contacto, quisiéramos solicitar que el acusado haga lo que se deletrea con la FVIP. En nuestra oficina no ha podido tener la oportunidad de hablar con la víctima todavía.
I would just ask the court to sound for Ms. Kathy Martinez.
Y pido que se llame a la señora Katy Martínez. Señora Katy Martínez, si está presente en la plataforma de Zoom, por favor, prenda su micrófono y su cámara para poder verla y hablar con usted. Katy Martínez.
Right, she's not here. Ms. Counts, I understand that the defendant is married to the victim. Do they share the same marital home?
Entiendo
Yes.
que el acusado está casado con la víctima. Ellos comparten el mismo o viven en el mismo departamento. Sí.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor, they do.
All right.
Sí.
Anything else to add, Ms. Counts?
Muy bien,
I'm
¿hay
fine.
algo más que quiera agregar, señora Khan?
I'm fine with the state's recommendation for a signature bond. I would ask for no violent contact. I would ask against the FVIP. This is his first arrest. He does have good contact here. He works here at a supermarket as a director of a supermarket here in Atlanta. So he would not qualify for the services of our office after today.
No estoy bien con la recomendación de la Fiscalía por una fianza bajo firma, y solicito que no haya contacto violento entre ellos, y también quiero pedir que en contra de la solicitud del proceso de FVIP, este es un primer arresto. Lo que yo tengo por los contactos aquí, él trabaja en un supermercado como director de él mismo y aquí en Atlanta. Por eso él no cumple los requisitos para estos servicios en nuestra oficina a partir de hoy.
The bond is $3,000. It's a signature bond through pretrial level 1. He will report to pretrial services once a month.
One moment, please, Your Honor. La multa es de $3,000 y es una fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio en un nivel 1. Se deberá presentar a la oficina de servicios previos al juicio una vez por mes.
Within 30 days of being released, he must enroll in a qualified domestic violence intervention program. He can take it in English or in Spanish.
Dentro de 30 días de ser puesto en libertad, él debe registrarse en un one moment, please, en un proceso alterno que sea calificado para, violencia doméstica.
He must show proof of enrollment and attendance to his pretrial officer.
Y debe traer un comprobante de registración en el proceso y de asistencia y presentárselo a su oficial de prueba.
Since I haven't heard from Ms. Martinez and given the allegations set forth in the warrant,
Debido a que no he escuchado nada de la señora Martínez y se me han presentado los alegatos en esta orden de arresto,
he is to have no contact with Kathy Martinez and stay 200 yards away from her and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner.
él tiene prohibido el contacto con Kathy Martínez y mantenerse a 200 yardas de distancia de ella y no comunicarse tampoco con ella de ningún modo posible.
He is not allowed to return to the home he shares with Ms. Martinez, and he must update the court with his new mailing address within 30 days of being released.
No está prohibido que usted que regrese a la residencia que comparte con la señora Martínez y debe usted actualizar su nueva dirección dentro de 30 días en este tribunal después que sea usted puesto en libertad.
No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and firearms.
Queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas.
And that's it. He just needs to make sure he reports once a month.
Eso es todo. Tiene que asegurarse que presentarse ante su oficial de prueba una vez al mes.
Right? Ms. Mokeke, eventually, I guess we'll need the address of the alleged victim.
Señora Moca, que eventualmente necesitaremos la dirección de la víctima legal.
Our office will continue to reach out to her.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Your Honor, I would just ask if he could at least have a one-time police escort to retrieve his property.
Su señoría, por favor, quisiera solicitar si él pudiese tener una escolta de oficial policía, por lo menos una vez, para que él pueda retirar de la residencia sus pertenencias personales.
He's allowed a one-time visit with a police officer to retrieve his personal belongings.
Él tiene permiso una vez con un oficial de policía a retirar sus pertenencias personales.
Thank you.
Gracias.
What's our next case requiring an interpreter?
Yes, I'm gonna be position 7.
Okay. This is State versus Alan Meza, accused of battery family violence from November 1st, 2024.
Esta es la Fiscalía contra Alan Meza, acusado de golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar, el 1 de noviembre del 2024.
Mr. Meza, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you.
Señor Meza, usted tiene el derecho a guardar silencio. Todo lo que usted diga en este tribunal público, sus declaraciones pueden y serán usadas en su contra.
You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one would be appointed to represent you.
Usted tiene el derecho a ser representado por un abogado y si no puede pagar por uno, uno se le asignará para que lo represente.
Presently, your counsel is going to be Ms. Counts.
En este momento, su abogada va a ser, I'm sorry, la señorita Counts.
Yeah, presently his attorney is Ms. Counts, Jasmine Counts.
En este momento su abogada es la señorita Counts, Jasmine Counts.
I understand Mr. Meza has 4 arrest cycles.
Entiendo que el señor Mesa tiene 4 arrestos anteriores.
Mr. Howard, anything else to add?
¿Algo más, señor Harwood?
2021 simple battery DV arrest, 2014 illegal alien, 2014.
Okay.
En el 2021, one moment, please. Un arresto y también en el 2014 por residente indocumentado.
Ms. McKechnie, what's the recommendation?
¿Cuál es el convenio declaratorio, señora McKechnie?
The state's recommendation is a signature bond through pretrial services, no further violent contact with the victim, and that the defendant do an FBIP.
La Fiscalía recomienda una fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio, no tener más contacto violento con la víctima y que el acusado tome un proceso de aprendizaje de violencia familiar.
Our office has spoken with the victim, Miss Marlene Quintero Rugama.
Nuestra oficina ha hablado con la víctima, la señora Marlene Quintero Ugama.
She stated she is not afraid of the defendant, confirmed the events in the warrant, and stated that she wants to continue contact and for the defendant to come home.
Ella declaró que no le teme al acusado, confirmó los eventos estipulados en la orden de arresto y declaró que ella quiere continuar en tener contacto con el acusado y que regrese a la residencia.
Ms. Counts, oh, so sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to state the defendant is accused of punching the victim in the face while they were struggling for her cell phone. That is all.
Solamente quería decir que el acusado tiene un alegato de darle de abofetar a la víctima en la cara mientras ellos estaban peleándose por el teléfono celular.
Ms. Counts, any objection to a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 with a DVIP and no violent contact?
Señorita, ¿causa alguna objeción a una fianza bajo firma de $3,000 a través de los servicios previos al juicio y un proceso de BP y no tener más contacto violento?
No, Your Honor.
No, su señoría.
All right, Mr. Meza, your bond is going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial where you will have to report once a month.
Señor Mesa, su fianza va a ser una fianza bajo firma de $3,000 a través de los servicios previos al juicio y tendrá usted que asistir una vez al mes a dicha oficina.
You are to enroll in a domestic violence program within 30 days of being released. You can take the program in the Spanish or English language.
Usted tiene que registrarse en un programa de violencia doméstica dentro de 30 días después que lo pongan en libertad y tiene que tomar el programa ya sea en inglés o en español.
You must show proof of enrollment and attendance to your pretrial officer.
Y tiene que mostrarle el comprobante a su agente de prueba.
You are to have no violent,
I'm sorry, excuse me.
you are to have no violent contact with Marlena Quintero Rugama.
Tiene prohibido tener contacto violento con Marlena Quintero Rogama.
Which means that you can live with her and communicate with her, but there cannot be any physical or verbal altercations that will involve the police.
Esto significa que usted puede vivir con ella, comunicarse con ella, pero no puede haber ningún tipo de altercado físico o verbal que involucre a la policía.
If you violate these conditions or if you get arrested again, you will lose the signature bond.
Si usted no cumple con estas condiciones o lo arrestan de nuevo, perderá su fianza bajo firma.
Remember to report to court when summoned. Maintain a good address with us.
Acuerde que debe usted presentarse cuando el tribunal lo cite y mantenga una dirección actualizada con el tribunal.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Chansey, I think those were the two cases. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
Your Honor. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, next case,
All
please.
right, Judge, can we go back to position 2, Adams?
Ms. Tamisha Adams. Ms. Adams, I don't like your reaction because I don't think you are taking this matter seriously. And if I release you on a signature bond and you get arrested again and you don't listen to my conditions, you'll simply be back in jail and spend a very long time in jail before you're released. That's the way it works. If you decide to invite yourself to the Fulton County Jail, you're going to have to take this matter up very seriously. And laughing and gleeing about the fact that you're getting a release is not going to help you at all. I don't have a lot of trust that you're going to comply with the conditions. Do you understand? I don't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have a lot of trust that you will not return to the Dollar General store. And I don't have a lot of trust that you will not reoffend and be back in jail, whether it's Fulton County or some other location.
I've learned my lesson, Your Honor.
I don't think you've learned your lesson. That's why you're going to comply with these conditions. And if you don't, I'm sure your defense attorney will explain to you that I don't mess around. I will revoke your bond, and you can spend the next few months in the Fulton County Jail until your case goes to trial. It's that simple. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the battery charge, it's going to be $2,500. On the disorderly conduct is $1,000, and the theft by taking is $1,000. Your total bond is a $4,500 signature bond for pretrial services. That means that if you don't show up in court, if you get arrested again, or if you violate the conditions, the next time you come back to jail, please be sure to bring $4,500 with you. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
You will be reporting to pretrial services twice a month. You'll be on a level 2 reporting. Within 7 days of being released, you will have to go to a qualified healthcare provider and undergo a MH evaluation and submit yourself to any treatment that's required. Do you understand what that means?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me what that means.
Once I find me a program I can get into, I can get evaluated by a program I can find that evaluate me.
Do you know what an MH program is?
So I do not.
Okay, so why did you say you understand?
Because I understood the process on how to do, how I go about doing it.
All right. Deputy, could you, I'm going to give you the information since I'm not allowed to say it in open court.
How long, Your Honor? All right, I'm ready.
All right, this is the information you need to share with her, all right, when we are off screen. And she
Okay.
has to get that evaluation done within 7 days of being released. And when she comes to pretrial, she needs to show proof that she's actually gotten the evaluation. And then once you've done the evaluation, you must comply with any treatment or any medication that they prescribe. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are to stay 500 yards away from the Family Dollar store at, what was the address? 565 something.
It was 565 Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard, Southwest.
All right. You're to stay away from that Family Dollar General store, and you're to stay away from all Family Dollar General stores in Fulton County, not just that one. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're not to have no contact with Patience Allen and Miss Austin. That's all I wrote down. Miss Mokeke, what was the victim's name?
It was Patience Lewis Allen,
Right.
Betty Austin, and then there was another employee at the Family Dollar whose name was Bernae Haith, Bernae, last name Haith.
All right, so there are 3 employees that you are required to have no contact with. At this point, I'll just basically tell you for the Joseph E. Lowry store, you have to have no contact with any of the employees in that store. If they see you within 500 yards of that strip mall or that Dollar General store, all they have to do is call the cops and you'll be back in jail. Because if they can see you, that means you are within 500 yards of that location. 500 yards is the length of 5 football fields. That's quite a distance. Do you understand, Miss Adams?
I do, Your Honor.
Right? All right. Your case is further.
And just to clarify for the record, Your Honor, Ms. Zeddy Austin doesn't work at the Family Dollar. She was the victim of a theft by snatching.
Oh, that was the bag, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, that was the credit cards and driver's license.
Oh, okay. Understood. Thank you. All right, Miss Adams, we'll see you in court when you get your notice to come back for trial. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, I have one more on the calendar, I believe. That was
Can I make an announcement, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so position 10, Pink, she paid her bond.
Okay,
So
she was
released.
Okay.
And position 11, Sanders, they're gonna be a behavior reset.
Okay, to Monday, that would be November 4th at 2 p.m.
And I do have Mr. Parham here in the courtroom. He need to be interviewed by Moses Counts. So if I can give her a call, she can be able to interview.
Mr. Parham's case was dismissed. So he was rearrested on, it's my understanding he was rearrested on a previous case that has already been null-prossed by the state, and that Mr. Jordan sent out an email in regards to that.
That is correct.
We did send out an NOD for Mr. Parham.
So the criminal trespass also would cause dismissed?
Yes.
So it did seem like he was arrested on 2 separate cases. I NOD'd the case from 2023, and I feel like his other case was a felony.
Okay.
Can I get a jailing number, please? So maybe we can confirm that to see whether he needs to go to felony first appearance on Monday. Anyone has a jailing number for Mr. Parham?
Yes,
Yes.
booking number is 241-8999.
That was 3 9s, right?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Parham has got a criminal matter 24 PI 008059. He's got a criminal trespass. Is that the one that has been dismissed by the state?
Yes, Your Honor. It was a criminal trespass and a theft by taking.
Okay, and then he's got a theft. Okay, so both have been dismissed?
Yes, the criminal trespass and theft by taking have been dismissed, and then he just has that felony criminal damage to property, second degree.
So Deputy, he's only got that felony case.
Oh, okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Just to go over the bond amounts with the attorneys, position 1, Adams was a $2,000 surety reset to November 14. 5, Tamisha Adams is a 4,500 signature bond to pretrial level 2. 3, Kofi is a $1,000 surety reset to November 14. 4, Colbert is a 1,500 signature bond to pretrial level 1. 5, Herrera is a $3,000 signature bond to pretrial level 1 DPIP. 6, Johnson is a $2,000 signature bond to pretrial level 1. 7, Mesa is a 3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 with DVIP. Nabi is $1,000 signature bond through the jail. 9, Nesmith is a $2,000 surety bond reset November 14. 10 is released and further notice. 11 is reset to first appearance C calendar on Monday, November 4th at 2 p.m. This would be a behavior reset. Position 12, Sawyer is a 5,000 signature bond to pretrial level 3 with a DVIP requirement. 13, Tiana Smalls is a 1,500 signature bond to pretrial level 1. I'm sorry, that was position 13. Yeah. 14, Calpin is a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. 15, Jaquan Torian is a 3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 16, Walker, Paul Walker, that's a, that was dismissed. Oh, sorry, no, the stalking was dismissed. The simple batteries is 3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Samuel White is a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3.
Not per judge.
Yes, sir. And position add-on 1, Watkins is a $1,000 surety bond reset November 14th. All right, folks, any changes or corrections to be made? No, it's actually all clear. Wow. All right.
Much better than yesterday.
Oh, shush. Okay. All right, folks. Y'all have a great weekend. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah.